Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of our show. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Greg-Zuffelato, who is the founder of Too Busy to Eat. Greg, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. This is great. I'm really excited about being here, and I'm looking forward to talking to you.
Well, I like the name Too Busy to Eat because it really cuts, you know how in marketing you hear about features and benefits, and it's like, oh yeah, the feature of this car is it has brakes. Well, who cares? But the benefit is it keeps you from slamming into someone in front of you. Well, I think that you could have said founder of How to Diet Better. Who cares? Too Busy to Eat really cuts down into the quick of what it's really about, because fast food, people want convenience, and then even at home, well, I don't have time to prep it, so I go to whatever club and buy bulk sodium-filled whatever it is, and so I really like that initial mindset of people are too busy to eat. Now what are you going to do about it? So with that thought in mind, share with us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to become an entrepreneur, and then to help people, what motivates you to help people in this way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, several years ago, I've done a lot of different things. I was first part of my life after college was focused on, I was a physics and chemistry teacher, and I taught coached high school basketball, and then coached college basketball. And I was always, there's something uneasy about everything I've done. I enjoyed it, but I was missing it. And then so several years ago, and I had started some businesses in the past, training athletes and doing different things. But I had this passion for nutrition all my life, and did things with it in and out in between, coaching and doing this. And then I was challenged to kind of put my thoughts together of all the things I've learned over the years. And that turned into my book, my first book, I Believe, Weight Loss. And the book launched my business. So I became, I became an author that launched me into this entrepreneurship full time. And I'm just motivated. Basically, I was trying to think when I started putting this all together, how can I help people? So the book came out. And then people started contacting me after the book came out. And they're like, hey, what? I need more help. I want you to kind of guide me through this. And so I started working with people one-on-one, and then it blossomed from there. But the whole thought of it, and basically everything I've done, I just enjoy helping people in different ways. And this is another avenue of helping people get healthy, learning how to eat when they're super, super busy. Like, my main focus right now, what I've learned over the years, what I'm best at is helping busy professionals, and then help and working directly with companies to help their employees get healthier. So those two things, it fits perfect to this Too Busy to Eat, name. It's what those people in those areas are. They're busy. They're trying to move up the corporate ladder, or they're trying to, or even entrepreneurs trying to, really get their lives going. There's not time to stop. So that's how all my programs are based on that. My programs are based on making things very healthy, but simple to do and simple to follow.
Yeah, because again, my background is marketing, and I teach marketing, and I consult with clients, and so I kind of tie it all back to that. But it really does get back to a saying in the marketing world, which is a confused mind doesn't buy. Right. And that would apply to a lot of things. If it's like, well, here's this weight loss nutrition program, and there's 426 steps, just no one's going to do it. So simplicity and ease is super, super important. So I love that about what you just described. Here's a question for you. Did you ever weigh 400 pounds?
I weighed almost 300. I was about 70.
Because where I was going with that is, did you have your own story that was like, been there, done that, bought the T-shirt, dropped the weight, and I can show you how to do the same thing? Yeah,
I say sort of. I did have a major transformation. I was a college basketball player, and I was very fit, athletic, and then I got done with college, and I kept eating like I was in college. And then several years later, found myself I was almost 270 pounds. Now I'm 6'6", so it didn't. I mean, I looked heavy, but I didn't look.
Yeah.
270 sounds big, but when it's spread out, it's not as much. But I was really unhealthy, and so I went through an initial transformation of being basically a complete out of shape, sloth, to in the middle road, kind of an average, 240, 235. And that lasted for a little bit. Then my really refining of understanding nutrition in a deeper way took me back down to actually below my college playing weight. And I'm actually fitter. I mean, I can't do the things I used to do in college because I'm older, but I am, leaner than I was in college now after learning my nutrition principles, understanding nutrition in a deeper way. Now that's what I share with people. So, and I dropped, all the way down into the 200 range from 270. So it was a two-phase transformation, though.
Yeah.
So it was initial
well,
one.
and I would suspect that you find with your clients, and this is human nature, once the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step, or how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? I think it is like you take that first step, and it's like, oh, that wasn't that hard. And then you start seeing results, and you motivate yourself because it's like, hey, that 5 pounds feels good that I lost. And then now 10 becomes 20 and 20 becomes 30. So can you speak to even those phases of what people would go through from even a mindset? Because I would suspect that if we took a snapshot of your day of prep and nutrition and this and that, if you showed a newbie that would scare them off. So you've got to ease people in. Right,
yeah. And it's in the weight loss system, the way it works with weight loss with anybody in any system, it does come in waves, and you have to understand where you're going to. Most people's journey, unfortunately, a lot of people's journey it's just up and down. You go down, then you go back up, and sometimes you go farther, go past where you started, which is bad. You lose 10 pounds, you gain 12 back. But even in the process of success, the weight loss journey is still in waves. You will, lose 15, and you're really excited, and you gain a few back, but then you make that second push. So I've seen that working with people over and over is they do have that kind of wave approach. You lose some, gain a little back, lose a little bit more, then you plateau for a while. And this is what I try to teach people as I go through my programs with them is understand this. There's plateaus. I mean, even one of my meal plans is called a plateau breaker because everybody gets to the point where they hit this wall, and the wall will discourage them. But I said, no, you have to hit that wall, and it's either going to take you back up, or you're going to plow through that wall and come on down the other side and be better off. So yeah, you have to know that going in. You're going to have that roller coaster. And I would even submit that you have to know that that's going to happen and that it's normal and natural for that to happen. Yes, absolutely. And it's one of the problems where people have these major transformations and they'll lose 50 pounds in 30 days. It's just dramatic that, it doesn't stay. That natural. Yeah, because it took you more than 30 days to gain the 50. Yeah, why do you think it's going to? Yeah. that's very important to understand. Like you're saying, that's to understand that, if you're at, let's say an average age, my program, a 40-year-old male, it took you, probably were fairly in shape in college, but it took another 15 to 20 years to get to this state. Right. And then, you want it back in two months. Well, that's not healthy. You have to do it in stages, and you do it, you reach that reasonable goal, you maintain, then you set the next goal, and you get there and you keep on going. And it's overall, to explain it, it's a lifestyle change. You can't expect, as you were describing that, I was thinking that process would apply to the same kind of a thought process that you think of when you think of goal setting, in the sense that
It's not necessarily reaching that specific goal. It is who you become in reaching that goal. So it's not necessarily losing those 20 pounds or 30 or 40. It is who you're becoming and that lifestyle you're creating and embedding and ingraining in your habits while you get there. Because if you get to that 20 too fast, you haven't honed those habits to retain that.
Absolutely. That, it's funny. That is actually one of the biggest things I learned in business or an entrepreneur is to make a change. So this goes to weight loss. It actually goes across the spectrum. To make a change and to move yourself forward, the change has to start with you first. So whether it's business, whether it's weight loss, any goal, anything you're after, you really, if you're just focused on where you're going without making the change of yourself, you're not going to get there. And that's like starting a business from scratch, entrepreneur. You have, if you're just focused on, let's say I make that first $1 million and you don't change along the way, you'll never get there. So you have to make the change
and I would suspect,
yourself. Yeah.
I went through a training a few years back, and it was like a laddering process where you said to a client, why do you want to lose weight? Or you want to lose 20 pounds. Why? I just want to get healthier. Why? What's important to that about that to you? Well, I want to get healthier because, I want to get back to my college weight. Okay, that's a good reason. Why is that important? Well, and then you start going layer and layer and layer, and finally you get to the point where it gets down to this thing where it's like, now that is the real reason, and that is the why that should draw you to achieve those goals and stick with it, not just I want to lose 20 pounds. Right.
Yeah, that's right. There has to be a deeper, and that's funny. One of the processes I go through with people is, find that motivation, and really what that is speaking to what you're saying is what's the foundational principle behind why you're doing it. You have to make those core decisions on what's going to drive you and what you need to do what you need to change internally to get to where you need to get before you start. I mean, you can't make the change all of a sudden. The change is a process too, but you have to understand it and know where you're going, know what you need to change to get there. So
that's a pretty huge point. So let's say that someone gets the mindset taken care of and the why and all of that. What would you point to as like one or two main keys to getting healthy / losing weight while living in the crazy, crazy fast-paced world that we're in, because it is so easy just to grab something, whatever that something might be?
Yeah, and big part is knowledge and understanding. Like, so it's too fast paced to always have everything planned out perfectly, right? So part of my process is I plan everything out for my clients. People go through my program, they have a meal plan and shopping list all done for them on a mobile app, so it's nice and easy. But part of the process is education, so you learn how to do things as you go. So I mean, when I say education, I mean all of a sudden, you plan to have this meal for lunch and your boss, or you have a lunch meeting you have to go to. You have to be able to have enough knowledge really quick to know what to order at a restaurant. And that's part of my program is you have to learn how to do all of these different aspects so you can really understand to do it on the fly. When you're traveling, what do you do when you're flying across country for a business trip or even a family vacation? Well, how are you going to eat to not destroy your health? Maybe you won't get necessarily healthier along the way, but what's going to keep you from just totally sabotaging your health? So knowledge is a huge thing, and it takes little incremental bites along the way to get that understanding on how to eat on a run, how to manage your time, and also so knowledge, and then the understanding of how to plan. And so there's knowledge will get you through when the plan doesn't work, and then the planning will set you up for your regular success. So like I talk about, planning for success. I talk about writing goals. I also talk about the nuts and bolts of making a meal plan each week and plan your week out so you know exactly what's going to happen. And so you can have that prepared. So you have a favorite lunch. Like I have this mix I make in my program that people love, and it's called the Too Busy Power Mix, right? So they make it. People will prepare it on Sunday. You eat it 3 or 4 times during the week. And so learning how to plan and getting that knowledge to be able to work through when you get off the plan, when things come your way that you don't expect. So those are two, planning and knowledge are huge.
Yeah, and because I think it's kind of like what we said earlier about the obstacles will happen and it's normal and natural. So you have to realize that and feel like, okay, cool. I'm not different. Well, think of like the reality shows on TV of the weight loss boot camp kind of things. Well, of course you can follow that there, but what happens when you go home? And like to your point about in real life is happening right now. This is real life. So yeah, you can go through a boot camp or some sort of a program, but what then day 2 or 3 after that is going to help you keep that going? Because you, unless you're the superstar that can have a personal chef following you around every step of every day, which is, no one.
Yeah, right.
So what would you say is some of those specific keys? Having the plan and the knowledge, that's great. But guess what? I would think that one of the thoughts that crosses through your client's mind when you send them their shopping list through the app, good night, I'm up and down aisles and I can't find this, and then I got to bring it home and then cook it. And so, I mean, just having that is part of the battle and a wonderful piece of the battle. But then how do you make sure that they take it and kind of get that ball over the goal line, which is, okay, now we got the food, we got the shopping done, now we got to prep it, now we got to cook it, because now the easy part is just eating it, because I'm sure it tastes all great. I think you're gone are the days where it's like, oh, health food's disgusting. I think the healthy foods taste great. It's just the easiness of cooking it.
Right. That's part of the journey and through, and I keep mentioning my programs because that's the education component. But part of it is learning, what is going to work. And that key word that comes up in when I talk about people go through my program or I talk about my program is sustainability. Like nothing in any program you do, if you're doing something that's not sustainable, it's not something you can see yourself doing for a month, 2 months, 3 years, 4 years, then it's not going to work. So understanding there's a process people go through as I take them through is understanding what is really going to work in the long run. So, not everything that they have in their meal plan that I'm giving them, the shopping list, is going to work perfectly for their life in the long run. But they are going to figure out a certain number of meals, a certain number of snacks, that special spot in the supermarket where they can go in and grab, and then I've found that nutrition products are a great way of helping people. So because now it's a simple thing as I have a nutrition bar or a protein mix that if it gets too busy and I can't get to lunch, I can't get the right lunch, well, I have a bar in my desk, or I have I can do a smoothie mix really quick. So what I do to help people is, they figure out what works for them and then provide, products in the long run that will help them, or tell them what, give them ideas on what to use. If it's not my products, what are they looking for in a nutrition bar? What are they looking for in a meal replacement drink? What are they looking for? So those are part of the education process. So it takes time. So that's why I kind of walk people through my program, so by the end they have the tools for success.
Yeah, I think that is really key, which is having things at hand that are easier to reach for than just the vending machine, and that takes the planning. And in reality, it really is. If you told most people, here's, you have nothing to do today except for this list of 4 things, and when you get to list number 1 on the list, do it and then check it off. When you get to number 2, do it and check it off. People feel comfortable, and it's a security blanket to be told how to do and what to do and when to do in that sense. So if you did have that plan, they go, well, I can do that. Right.
It's not that hard. Yeah, it's like
shopping list. Give that to me. I can do that.
Right. And it goes back to sustainability. Like and that's what I found. And this really the foundation of a lot of this came when I was trying to make my transformation, and I'm reading books and I'm going through these elaborate meal plans, and I'm taking hours every day of trying to get my meals ready. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is not sustainable. And so when I started putting things together, I thought, you know what? I know it's not this complicated. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Like, I am not a big recipe guy. I love food, but I hate making, I don't like to look for 15 different items to make one meal.
Obscure ingredients, yeah.
Yeah, right. So mine are my meals are 3 or 4 items. They're you can season them and all that, but they're very simplistic because you got to be doing. And I work with a busy person. The person that's not busy and doesn't have a lot going on. My program's probably not for them because they're going to want to spend more time with recipes and things like that. But when I was going through that, reading every diet book and recipe book, I just kept getting frustrated and thinking, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And that's over the easy to follow, the simple approach, the sustainable approach is what I, in the end came up with. And because I want people I don't want to help them just now. I want to help them for a lifetime.
Yeah. And what is easy is continued. So I think that's a major resonating feature that I wanted to bring out is what I'm hearing is if you can get the coaching, get the plan, get the system, get the knowledge, and oh, by the way, it'll be easy, then people should be able to stick with that and then see the results. And then once those results start, that motivates you to keep on and on and on because you like what you see.
Yes. You see, wow, this is doable. This is not, and a lot of people are, it's not as complicated as what it's made out to be, but people don't know that. And so when they finally get the clarity of, wow, this is not as complicated as it has to be, and I don't have to, count every single calorie. I don't have to be certain. You can learn a system of eating that is sustainable. Then it empowers them, and then they see results, like you said, and it motivates them, and it's a snowball effect.
Yeah,
keeps them going.
Yeah, good point. Hey, so of course we can keep talking for hours on end and days on end, but let's land the plane and say, what's the best way for people to learn more about your programs and you and your background and maybe some resources that you may have for them?
Yeah, at toobusy-to-eat.com, my website, there's a great opportunity. You can grab my book for free on that website, My Nourishment, I Believe Weight Loss, both on as a PDF emailed to you or an audiobook. Either way, I provide it both on the website, so you can have either choice. And it's a great way to just kind of get the foundation of my program with for free. And then the second part of that is I'd love to hear from people. So if you have questions about nutrition, you have questions about my program, you have questions about anything that you're wrestling through in that realm, there's a contact button right there. And I make it a point, no matter how many I'm getting, I respond personally to every single email that comes through that contact button. It comes right to me, and I respond. I love it. That's part of I was a teacher for a lot of years, so education, I love that part of it. So
yeah, well, I think when you can educate someone, then they can start to take ownership in that knowledge themselves, and that's a nice mix. So thank you so much for your time, and it's great getting to know you.
Thank you. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.